Well, in terms of ecclesiology, eschatology helps us to understand the purpose of the church. If we understand God's work of rescue as being inescapably connected to the church, then we understand a lot of things. We understand the importance of the church. God is actually rescuing a people. That's very important. I think in modern evangelicalism, we've so focused on sort of the personal relationship that one has with Jesus Christ, which of course is vital, but to the exclusion of the fact that these people who are personally being saved by Jesus are part of a body, part of his body, part of this gathering, this church that's going to make up this new community in heaven, in the new heavens and the new earth. And so what eschatology does by showing us the completed church in glory, it does so many things, Jim. It gives us confidence in Christ's work in the church, that the church is actually the one of the means that God is using to save people and to transform people from brokenness to wholeness. It tells us how important it is to be members of the church. If the church is going to be a glorified body in heaven, if that's what God is saving, then we have got to be part of the church here and now. And then, as you've suggested, it also talks about the mission of the church. If we could say the church is partly the product of God's eschatological mission, not only here and now, but also ultimately in glory, then that actually says something about the mission of the church. The church is a redeemed community, but it's also a community that participates in the ministry of redemption, the ministry of reconciliation. So Paul, for example, can talk about this ministry of reconciliation in 2 Corinthians 5 and elsewhere as one who had been reconciled to God in preparation for an eternity of worship and service of God, for the mission of God in and to the church. And so if we see the church as simply the place where we get saved, or where we get sanctified, or where we prepare to enter into glory, and not as a mission, then we've missed a huge part of what God is doing in his work of redemption. So I think that Abraham Kuyper said that every other division of theology left some question unanswered, to which eschatology should supply the answer. And so I think that's what it does here with the church. It supplies the answer. What is the mission of the church? It's to participate in the mission of God.
Yeah.
To worship God, but also to participate in his work of bringing the gospel to the world.
Yeah, it so much underscores that Christ may be all in all. If we would remember the glory of Christ, and everything needs to be derived from that, if he's the apex of revelation and he's the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, that helps us, I guess, to some degree, understand how the other aspects of theology need to also fall into line, or better yet, just be derived and developed organically out of that basic idea. So it comes back to our main Christian identity. Now, even when we say Christian identity, sometimes we might already be off to the wrong start because we don't remember that Christian, that name, means we have the name of Christ on us. And it's all about being united to Christ and being found in him. We're part of his body. And so if Christ is to be exalted on high, and he's Lord of Lords, King of Kings, we are to be included in that family because of what he did on our behalf. And so that means a lot in the present, certainly the way Paul develops that New Testament ethic and speaks of us being pilgrims. Even the book of Hebrews often talks about us having been delivered out of our slavery to sin and now being led through the wilderness. But we need to recognize that this wilderness existence in which we presently live as the church is not our ultimate resting place.
That's right.
Yeah, we're going somewhere. And that everything just needs to be oriented and focused upon Jesus. And I think that helps us illuminate the whole for us.